Good evening, everyone. Hello, Paula D'Amico here, the president of the local chapter of NAWBO. That's the Buffalo Niagara chapter. And every Monday we come together and we talk about the wonderful members that we have here in Western New York. We're putting the spotlight on them because you, as a NAWBO sister or someone who knows about NAWBO, may be wondering, well, I don't exactly know, what do those members do? And even if you've been a member for NAWBO, especially the local chapter, for a long time, you may have been saying to yourself, "Well, I know Maria Pendolino, but what exactly does she do again?" So this is why we introduce our members. And look who's joining us today. Of course, it is Maria Pendolino. Maria, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure to have you here. Now, Maria is the owner and creator of Voice by Maria. And if it wasn't for Maria and her voice, her business would not have been born, right? And it wouldn't continue because it's her voice that keeps the business alive. So, Maria, we're going to begin by letting you explain a little bit about your business, what your business about, and how was it born? How did it come into the realization that it is today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Voice by Maria is my company, and I provide voiceover services for all different industries. So, you may know voiceover from watching television commercials or hearing radio commercials, or when you call your bank and you're pressing one and pressing two, and the person on the line is like, "I'm sorry, I didn't get that." You might be interacting with a voiceover artist every day and you don't even know it. So, I'm really lucky that I get to work across different industries, whether it's advertising or industrial, providing my voice for different advertisements, systems, and things like that. It's a very strange profession. I sit here in a padded booth and talk to myself all day long. And I connect with clients all over the world, from here in Buffalo all the way to Southeast Asia and across Europe and the rest of the United States. And they give me projects to voice and give me direction on what type of tone and feel they're looking for. And then I produce the audio here at my professional recording studio that's in my home. I started my career as a voice actor alongside my acting career. So I was actually living in New York City and I was auditioning for TV, film, Broadway, anything that you would think of an actor kind of trudging the boards in New York doing. And I started doing voiceover as kind of a sidecar opportunity to, potentially make some money as an actor in between filming on TV shows or movies, or in between theater gigs if I was working in New York or working regionally. And during that time, the kind of voiceover industry completely exploded because we've moved into a very voice first world where not only do we have advertisements being played beyond TV and radio, but on the internet, we have pre-roll advertisements. We have ads being delivered to us on podcasts and platforms like Spotify and Pandora. So there's more and more places to place advertisements. So they need voiceover artists to voice these advertisements on all of the various media platforms. But also we've now started to go into a very voice first world where everything talks to us. Your refrigerator tells you if you're out of milk. Your bank ATM or kiosk can talk to you as you're depositing checks. Telephone systems and integrated voice response talk to you. You've got talk to speech programs like Siri and Alexa that speak to you. And all of those are created by actual voiceover artists. So there's more work than there's ever been today. So in 2014, I actually transitioned to doing voiceover work primarily as an actor. And I don't even do TV, film, and theater anymore.
So, isn't that interesting how your career, like, you start off in one career and it can morph into something else.
Yep.
And what's cool about that is when it morphs, when it changes, when you make that transition, it's something that you're passionate about. It's something that you love. So what a great way to take the next step into something that you may not have even thought that you would go in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about, for our NAWBO sisters that are out there, they're listening and they're like, wow, that's a lot. Maria does a lot. What, how can she help me? How can she help my business? Because, ladies of NAWBO, and those of you that are just tuning in just to listen to hear what Maria has to say, this, you can listen and understand this as well. Right around the holiday time, Maria put out the offer. that she could help any of the businesses, the local ladies, with creating a voiceover to help promote their business. And that's one way that you can truly help the local business women of NAWBO. And explain a little bit how effective that is. I mean, that's a pretty, in my world, I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's a huge holiday gift that Maria's putting out there. Why don't you kind of help everybody kind of wrap their head around how important and how valuable that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that's become very popular is using what's called an audiogram on platforms like Instagram or Twitter, something you can share on Facebook, basically any of your social media channels. And I think sometimes when people hear what I do or what I talk about, they're like, oh, I can't afford to produce a commercial. I don't have the money to buy, the ad time on WKBW or on the radio. Like, I don't have the budget to do that. So I wouldn't need something like that. But actually, with social media, we have platforms where advertising is completely free. So you could actually produce a commercial, so to speak, for yourself using still photography. We can use stock photography. We can use stock image and stock photos, as well as B-roll, that are all available and can be licensed from sites like Shutterstock or Getty or Storyblocks. And I can write unique copy about your business or whatever your call to action is. So what Paula was sharing, I put out around the holidays, was if anyone was doing some kind of promotion around Small Business Saturday. So if you had a specific sale or call to action, you want to drive people to your location or to your website, I can create 30 or 59-second videos that can be then shown organically in your Instagram feed, your Twitter feed, or your Facebook feed for people who follow you. And then they can also be shared. So if someone sees it because they follow you, they can then share that to their profile, or they can share that Facebook post. And that just helps your organic reach on social grow. So, think about traditional advertising, TV and radio, or placing online ads, but then also think about organic advertising. And you can actually control that story. You can control what you want to say about your business. You can make it as short or as long as you'd like, because there's no rules or restrictions with regards to placing ad time. And then you can put it out there on social. And, there's something to, perhaps you talking directly to your followers on social, but then there's also something of creating something professional with professional voiceover, professional imagery, professional stock music, and things like that. So the call that I put out last November, and I'm pretty sure I'll do it again this November, is I have kind of all of the accoutrement. I have access to all the different kind of stock image and stock video sites. So all of these things that might be too expensive for one individual business to have the memberships to license these things, I already have them because I do it for my clients. So if you want something that's a 30-minute or a 30-second or a 60-second call to action or advertisement, or something that tells your brand story that could live on your socials or on your website, it takes me about an hour to create it. So that's why I kind of offered my time and kind of donated it to everyone, because it's really not hard for me to jump in the booth and, say 3 lines about blessings by nature or 3 lines about papercraft miracles, and then pop that, onto an audiogram that then you can share on social. But that's an example of things that I could do for our NAWBO sisters. I can create those types of organic advertisements that you could share about your brand story. I can record your phone system and your voicemail so that sounds really professional. Or if you ever have to put clients on hold, if you wanted to do messages on hold that talk about what sales you're running or what offerings you have, I can create that with really enjoyable hold music. Basically anything you can think of where you would want to talk to your customer, but you personally don't want to talk to your customer, I can do that for you.
That's incredible. And, she mentioned it. She's got right behind Maria, she's got her own sound booth. So jelly. I can't even tell you. When she's told me that a while back, I went, why do you have your own sound booth? As she should, though, as you should, Maria, because why leave the comfort of your home? It is your stay at home. You have an at home business, correct?
Yeah, I'm fully under the guise of kind of cottage industry, in that it is, fully remote, work from home. I have different types of connection technology that I subscribe to. Think of it as like Zoom Plus, like things beyond that, that allow me to connect to studios all over the world. So when I'm recording things like
Wow.
national commercials, I actually connect remotely, and it's almost like the engineer on the other end has plugged my microphone here in my booth into their board so they can record and edit me to picture live. So I pay subscriptions for things that allow that to happen. But yeah, I connect with recording studios and editors and things all over the world to use my voice in all of the big splashy TV advertisements. But, you know, when those don't come in, those are very competitive. And that type of project is very, very competitive, very volatile. I never know when I'm going to book a big national commercial. So all of the rest of the time, I'm doing everything for small businesses across the world. I do, you know, industrial projects like training programs, or I'm recording prompts for a kiosk and things like that. So I do all of that kind of stuff from home as well.
That's amazing. Now, with all that being said, and you were talking about the offer that you did, ladies, if you hear that she's doing this again, now that you have heard the potential and the power behind what she can create for you, I'm sure, Maria, you're going to get a lot of people that are going to be giving you a little message in your inbox. So this year, I would have thought this year, I'm getting myself all comfortable here. This year, I would think that a lot more people would be reaching out to you because, yes, we are in a more of a digital age, but put that aside, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Business has changed, and we need assistance to get the word out there because it's, for the longest time, it was not, hey, hello, hi, how are you? Shake your hand, see you at the store. It's let's go live on Facebook. Let's do things on social media. Let's amp up our social media presence. So with that being said, have you seen a great increase in business during this time, during the pandemic?
Yeah, my business has grown pretty substantially. And I think part of it was from an advertising perspective. There was a long period of time that production was shut down. So they weren't filming new commercials or new industrial content, and were using a lot of stock imagery and stock footage to communicate things. So they were hiring more voiceover because they couldn't have the benefit of people on camera, whether that is an actor or a spokesperson delivering an advertising message or a training message. They weren't able to film people on camera doing the speaking. So they actually hired a lot more voiceover talent to do some of that through the pandemic. For kind of local and small businesses, I think there was a period of time where people kind of mid 2020 just weren't sure what was going to happen. What was going to happen with PPP loans? What was going to happen with the different colored zones? Are we going to be having our customers do a different thing every week in order to reach us? So I think there was a little bit of cautious energy about, I'm not sure if I want to advertise because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to kind of keep my operations the same. I don't know if it's going to change week to week. But I will say coming into 2021, I have seen an uptick in kind of your more standard kind of advertising messages. Last year, I think people, were cautious. We had a little bit more tugging of the heartstrings, now more than ever in these unprecedented times. And this year, I feel like people are trying to get back to talking about what it is that they do best, their brand story, and what they want people to do. And they want to acquire new customers, acquire new business. So I think a couple of things, definitely explaining to your customers what you do is really helpful. There's kind of a media asset known as the explainer video, which is anywhere from 60 seconds to 90 seconds, a little bit more long form, that explains like who you are and also the problems you solve. Like, isn't it terrible when this happens? Well, if you had this, that wouldn't happen. And then explaining, what you do to solve that problem. So I think having that is really helpful. I think people, especially in the Gen Z and the millennial generation, are accustomed to going to Google to solve their problem. So if they don't know who in their community is best for this, whether it's a restaurant or a hardware store or whatever, they go to Google and they're actually doing kind of like a pre-qualification phase. They might look at your reviews on Google or your reviews on Yelp, and they're kind of reviewing things on your website before they decide if they want to call or come in. So having some kind of assets on your website, on your socials that tell a little bit about your story, whether that's giving a tour or talking about what it is you offer and how people can engage with you, that helps those kind of savvy younger buyers. And we're moving into the point where the millennial demographic has the most purchasing power of anyone out there. They actually want to engage with your brand before they physically set foot in your store or actually make it to make a purchase. They want to engage with you. So putting things out there to give them the opportunity to do that pre-qualification phase can be really, really important in the growth of new customers coming to your business.
So let's pretend for just a second I'm a new customer, and I've Googled you. And wow, Maria looks great. I'm going to do voice by Maria. I'm going to call her up to help me out with my project. I'm looking for a voiceover for my website. For when people jump on my website, they see something and they hear Maria. So Maria, when I call you up and we start working together on a project, as the business owner, what are you asking from me? You know, how much of a role do I play in creating that product?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are kind of starting from scratch and you're not working with like a video production company or anything, and it's really just you wanting to create an asset, I would probably just ask you questions about what it is you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to inform people about just your business and your brand in general? Are you trying to drive people to do a certain thing, drive them to purchase in an e-commerce site, drive them to physically come into your location, drive them to call you? Kind of what is that call to action that you want people to take into account? And then I'll probably just ask you some questions about your business. What's your value prop? Like, what is the thing that you do better than anyone else? I'll probably ask you who your competitors are and like how you're trying to differentiate yourself from them. And then anything specific that you want to say, whether that is a mission or value statement, something that's in your, your 30-second elevator pitch, something that you want people to know that's really important to you. For example, do you manufacture all your goods in the USA? And that's a really big differentiator for your business. Anything like that, I'll ask you what you want to convey. And then from there, I can create either a 30 or 60-second script if it's something that you're going to be putting on social. And then, we can do a slightly iterative process. How do you like the way that this is coming across? How do you like this tone? And then from there, if you don't have any pre-existing photos or B-roll, I would kind of go online and select some things that I think match up with the tone, whether it's kind of like, generic shopping photos or B-roll or exteriors or whatever makes sense for your business. And I'll actually layer my voiceover over those images, over that video, and create what essentially becomes like a social media advertisement or explainer video about your business. Find some music that I think really speaks to your brand story and your ethos of what you're trying to communicate. And then at the end of it, you have a video file that you can put on YouTube, you can put on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your website, anything like that. But I like to work with people who are also small business owners, especially, someone like me. I'm a solopreneur. Everything I do, it's me, like you said at the beginning. Like I'm an owner occupier of my business. Everything is coming out of my mouth into my microphone. So other sisters in our community I know are similar to me. Like they are the business. So if I can help you as a freelancer to be able to communicate your story about what you do to bring more people in the door for you, I'm happy to do it. And it's something that I really enjoy doing.
So before we go any further, because I know that we've got quite a nice number of ladies and maybe potentially gentlemen out there as well that are watching, and they're saying to themselves, "This is fabulous. This is great. I want in." How do they get a hold of you, Maria?
Sure. So my website is voicebymaria.com, and my email address is maria@voicebymaria.com. So you can feel free to email me, or I have a form on my website where you can fill out to contact me, and we can just get the ball rolling from there. When kicking off a new project, usually doing like a 15-minute Zoom call or phone call just to chat and understand a little bit about what your goal is really helpful. And then once we kind of arrive at what you're trying to achieve and how you'd like to use it, I can give you a quote for kind of the scope of work and understand your budget, and then we can go from there. But typically, these are the types of things, if we're able to get the information quickly of exactly what you're trying to do, this is the kind of thing that I can turn around in less than a week. So
wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. And what an impact it'll make on somebody's business, something fresh and something new, something promotable. In this day and age, if you have something like that Maria can help put together for you, that's something that you can blast out all over the place, and people be like, "What? That's so amazing! That's incredible!" And and you're supporting a local businesswoman as well. So let's talk woman in business, woman in business to woman in business, and starting your own business based out of your home. When you started in the very beginning, at first, like we all are probably like, "Oh yeah, this is amazing," and then you have your high points, you have your low points. Let's talk a little bit about being a woman-owned business, and that awesome. I can't stop staring at the sound booth behind you. Sorry, I'm like mesmerized by the sound booth. But talk about that as well. It's jump starting your business is one thing, but being able to sustain that business is another. So what are some of the trials and tribulations and some of the victories that you've experienced?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I picked a really hard business to be in, because it's very, very competitive. It's a market that's saturated. There are definitely more voice actors looking for work than there are jobs available. So it is a challenging type of environment to enter. And also, I picked something that doesn't have any limits geographically, which is both a positive and a negative. So, in if I was dealing with a much smaller market, then my targeting and how I look to grow my business, it kind of gives you a more firm sandbox to play within. But truly, with my business, the world is my oyster, so I can choose to market my services on the East Coast, the West Coast, in Europe, Asia, and sometimes I get a little bit of analysis paralysis on like where I want to try and focus or what I want to work on. But I really love being in business for myself. I really love being able to set my own hours, pick my own things to work on. I've learned that one of the greatest secrets of business ownership and adulthood is saying no if something is something that you don't want to work on, whether you don't want to work on a particular product, or you don't want to work on that particular time schedule, or the budget that they've presented you is less than you'd like to be paid for your work and you'd like to pursue something elsewhere. You get to say no. You have no one to report to but yourself. And I find that very empowering and very freeing. I also really like working from home. I was at the very front of kind of having a home studio and being a full-time remote worker. I've actually been working full-time remote since 2014. So the pandemic didn't present any major challenges to me, which I feel sometimes a little guilty saying. I know people have had to adapt to working remotely, having family, potentially having, two parents working remotely from one location, with one internet signal and only one place to do work. So I feel a little guilty saying that my life really didn't change much come March 2020 because I already had everything I needed to be working full-time remotely already. But I really love the ability as someone who is kind of a contractor for hire. My business, I kind of exist as a permanent freelancer. I come in and out of projects every day. That's what I do. I love the ability that it gives me to cross industries. I get to work with people in finance. I get to work with people in advertising. I get to work with people who deal with compliance. I get to work with people in the fast food business. So I get to be an industry chameleon, and every day is different, whether I'm, voicing a commercial or voicing an e-learning program for employees to be safe at work and do their job well. I get to kind of zip in and out of all of these different industries, get a little bit of a dabble of each, and then move on to the next one. So as someone like me who kind of grew my career a little bit as a generalist, I really enjoy that because I get a little bit of exposure to everything. And then it makes me feel like I'm really smart when I'm watching Jeopardy.
So how many, because I bet you there's somebody out there that's wondering, you can't use the same voice for every voiceover. So do you do different characters, or is it more a different persona? How does that work?
Yeah, so for anything that is kind of mainstream commercial or industrial, like training programs, phone systems, I have a couple of different varieties that are just like shades of Maria. So when I smile, I become happy commercially Maria, and it's up here. Or if it's like dry and sarcastic, then maybe I'm like down here and just kind of like muttering. Or if I'm doing something that's a little bit more professional and I'm showing that I have confidence and authority in what I'm saying, I put a little polish on it, and then you know that you can believe me and trust me. So I have little shades of me. They're all me, but it's just this is where the acting comes in and being a voice actor, like being able to, at the drop of a hat, with just a couple of keyword adjectives, I can make those adjustments in my body to create a slightly different sound. And then when I'm auditioning for things like video games and character animation work, then I can go off the wall and then I can create crazy nasally voices. I just auditioned for a video game where it was like different accents from around the globe. So doing all sorts of fake accents and things like that. And that's where you get to just play because, you know, you have no idea. You probably, the chances of booking some of these jobs are so infinitesimal, like just go for it. Cause like, there's just no risk. But yeah, I've mastered a few different sounds kind of, that are kind of my go-to ones that, you know, in a session I kind of can grab at a moment notice, but yeah. But they're all shades of me. There's always a little bit of Maria still in there.
Oh, shades of Maria. That's there's got to be a song about that. Shades of Maria. So Maria, with about 3 minutes left, there's a couple of important questions I want to ask you.
Sure.
First of all, you know, we are NAWBO sisters. We are NAWBO sisters, and we've been a part of the organization for quite a few years, and we call it the sisterhood. And I'm just wondering if you could share maybe one of your most favorite sisterhood stories or most valuable sisterhood story from being a part of the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I joined the group because I wanted colleagues and coworkers, really. As someone who is a solopreneur, I work by myself every day. So one of the reasons I wanted to join NAWBO is just because I wanted people to talk to. I wanted people that I could bounce things off of. I wanted people that I could ask for advice. I wanted people who were also passionate women who wanted to grow businesses and feel like I had people that I could kind of grow up with, so to speak, you know, side by side. Two of my favorite stories. One is I attended the Each One Reach One event a couple of years ago. And at that event, I met another fabulous female business owner named Audrey, who owns EcoServe Pest Control. And it was like one of those kismet moments because my husband and I had just discovered that we had ants that had appeared out of nowhere. And I met Audrey that night. And then I found myself a new client of her business. And I thought, how cool to support a pest control business owned by a woman. And then I actually got to do some work for Audrey, and she later hired me to do their messages on hold for their customer service phone lines. So it was kind of like this, like perfect, like if you could write like what's supposed to happen coming out of Each One Reach One, like you're supposed to find people that you want to do business with and find people who want to do business with you. Like that was like a perfect example of I think what that event is aimed for. And then I also have just really, really loved meeting people who work in all of the different industries that you might need help with. So, you know, if you need help with banking, like there's someone in NAWBO who can help you with that. If you're looking for, you know, a financial advisor, there's someone in NAWBO that can help with that. And I actually have bookmarked our membership page with everybody's names and the different companies they work with. And I try to make a point, if I need to hire a contractor, or if I need to hire a financial advisor, or if I need to hire someone, I'm checking the NAWBO page first. Maybe there isn't someone who specifically does that, but I know that I could call on one of my NAWBO sisters to give me a referral that I can trust. And I think those are kind of the most important things that I've gotten out of being a part of this organization. And just having people in a non-pandemic time, I can't emphasize this enough, like how much I miss being able to gather with our NAWBO sisters once a month for dinner. Because like I said, I'm sitting in here with no airflow, 6 hours a day, talking to literal padded walls, and coming out on Wednesday nights
Talking
once
to
a month.
yourself.
was such a joy, to be able to be in a cacophonous room of women excited to talk to each other, excited to meet each other, excited to learn something from our speaker that night. I can't wait to get back to that because I really, really miss that part of our membership.
We can't wait to get back to it too, and it will come. It will be
Yes.
there. We will gather once again. So on that note, it is 6:30, and can you believe it's been a half an hour already, Maria? It's amazing.
Time has no meaning.
We're just a couple of chatty Cathys. We could talk all night long, but we're not going to, because coming up in just a couple of minutes. So if you've been paying attention on Facebook and your newsletters and all the chitter chatter that's been going around in Western New York, we do the Monday member spotlight every Monday, but this month we're doing something extra special. It is Black History Month, and we are shining the spotlight on our ladies of color in business. And coming up in just a couple of minutes, if you stay right here on Facebook, we have Latoya Nichelle with LNW Enterprises, and she is a conference planning business owner. So we're going to find out how the pandemic has affected her business, how it's grown her business, and we're going to find out more about Latoya. In the meantime, let's go back to Maria, and I want to thank you, Maria, for joining us this evening. Thank you so, so much. Again, can you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
Yes, absolutely. My voicebymaria.com is my website. Maria at voicebymaria.com is my email. And if you want to catch me on social, I am at Maria Pendo, MariaPendo on both Instagram and Twitter.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Maria. We are so happy that you joined us this evening. And now you know all about Voice by Maria, the shades of Maria as well. Thank you so much, Maria. Everybody have a good night, or you can please stay tuned right here in just a couple of minutes. We will be live with our next guest. Thanks so much, Maria.
Thanks for having me.